Tim Pool, a far-right influencer who was exposed last summer for accepting up to $400,000 a month from Russian state media to spread misinformation, was given the first question at today's White House press briefing. I mean, that's pretty cool that he was given a question at the briefing whatsoever. Did they ever prove if that was real? Because I, like, vaguely remember him talking about how people were attacking him for getting money from Russia. Was that real? I don't even remember. I don't pay that much attention to Tim Pool anymore. Was the Russian money thing real, or did that get debunked? Yeah, that's what I'm asking. It was false? Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure that wasn't real, but I don't want to, like, speak without knowledge. They disproved themselves! He was paid to have his normal show on another channel. It was false. Okay. The government said he wasn't aware, so you don't think he knew of it? Think he was paid, but he was a victim in it? He wasn't paid to do anything by Russia. They paid him to republish his show. Interesting. Interesting. It was real. Tim just didn't know it was from Russia. He was paid to put the show on another channel. The channel is owned by Russians, not by Russia. I don't know how much, like, Russian things are owned by the Russian government, much like Chinese things are owned by the Chinese government, right? Like, I just don't know enough about the fabric of Russian life in that regard. He went to get the milk. You leave stream for a minute and Bagstead ends. You know, it's because you left. He ended specifically because you abandoned him, and he was like, well, now I just can't stream anymore. True. Oh my god, Adam, thank you for the 20. This money was from Russia, but it was laundered through an American media company. Tim didn't know that the media company was being funded by Russia. I just, like, that seems pretty normal, right? Like, if an American company is just like, hey, we're gonna pay you, you're like, okay, American company. You don't expect them to be, like, secretly underground funded by Russia or some shit. Let's see what this fucking video is. Where's my BGM? Let's turn that shit off, and I'm gonna drink coffee because I'm fucking thirsty and tired.
Many of the news organizations that are represented in this room have marched in lockstep on false narratives, such as the Very Fine People hoax, the Covington smear, and now what's being called the Maryland Man hoax, where an MS-13 gang member adjudicated by 2 different judges, I believe, is just simply being referred to as a Maryland Man over and over again. Now, in an effort from the White House to expand access to new companies, you've created this new media seat. So I'm wondering if you can comment on, following this expansion, you've had numerous outlets disparage the companies that you've had sit here, as well as the reporters. I'm wondering if you could comment on that unprofessional behavior, as well as elaborate if there's any plans to expand access to new companies.
Sure. Well, we certainly welcome diverse viewpoints in this room, which is one of the...
Many of the news organizations...
I kind of really wanted to hear her response, and so I'm sad that they cut this off. And also, he's literally just telling the truth. Far-right influencer taking money from Russia, literally just telling the truth. What the fuck? These people are crazy. Yeah, that clip was not very good. I feel like he was probably trying to make a point of, like, don't jump to conclusions before we have all of the information, which is a normal thing to say, but the way he was wording it was very fucking weird. Oh, speaking of being unironic, we've been vindicated again. This happened a few days ago, and I didn't get to touch on it because, like, everything has been happening all at once at all times. But we've been vindicated once again. Remember the DC helicopter crash in January that killed 64 people, including 12 children? Turns out the female pilot who was flying was given multiple warnings and was told directly by her male instructor and co-pilot to turn the opposite direction of the passenger jet to avoid a collision. She ignored him and flew straight into it. Boy, I love DEI. I love DEI. It's so great. It's so great. Entitled women in male fields are a major problem in society. The missteps that led to a fatal plane crash at Reagan National Airport. New York Times. I have the New York Post article open, but in her excerpt it says, 2 seconds after the controllers cut out instruction after passing behind the jet, Warrant Officer Eves replied, affirming for the second time that the Blackhawk saw the traffic. Pat 25 has the aircraft in sight. Request visual separation. The controller replied, VizSep approved. It was their last communication. The Blackhawk was 15 seconds away from crossing paths with the jet. Warrant Officer Eves then turned his attention to Captain Lobach. He told her he believed that air traffic control wanted them to turn left toward the East Riverbank. Turning left would have opened up more space between the helicopter and Flight 5342, which was heading for runway 33 at an altitude of roughly 300 feet. She did not turn left. The way they wrote that, man. And then the article here. Turn left, know your other left. Yeah, this would be like entrusting me to fly a plane. Like, don't fucking do that. Are you trying to mansplain how to do my job? What was the cause of death? Woman, actually. Army Blackhawk pilot in DC crash failed to heed flight instructor's command 15 seconds before deadly collision. The Army Blackhawk pilot involved in the DC plane crash failed to heed her flight instructor's warning just 15 seconds before the deadly crash that killed 67 people. Moments before the deadly January 29th crash near Reagan International Airport, Captain Rebecca Lobach missed an order from co-pilot Andrew Eves, who was overseeing her training mission to change course and avoid the descending American Airlines jet. Along with the error, officials found that the pilots stepped on some of the air traffic controller's instructions, meaning they accidentally cut him off when pressing the button to talk over the radio and likely missed important information. What an interesting selfie to take. A key moment occurred around 8:46 p.m. when Eves requested and received approval for the helicopter's pilots to use their own visuals instead of air traffic control to avoid other air traffic. The move is common practice to speed things up, but of course comes with the risk of more human error. During the moment, investigators believe Eves and Lobach failed to hear that the American Airlines plane was circling because one of them was pressing the microphone key to speak to air traffic control when the word came through. Just 20 seconds before the crash occurred, the air traffic controller asked the helicopter if it spotted American Airlines Flight 5342, which was coming up on runway 33 where the chopper was approaching. Pat 25, do you have the CRJ in sight? He asked, using the abbreviation for the model of Flight 5342's aircraft. This was the last communication between the plane and air traffic controller. Technology on the Blackhawk would have allowed air traffic control to better track the helicopter, was also found to be turned off that day. Common protocol if the training mission had been for real. But it was a practice mission involving an annual flying assessment for Lobach, who was training as if top congressional officials needed to be flown from a capital under siege. Well, it's a good thing this was training and she wasn't actually evacuating any officials. So she failed miserably. I would say this is an incredible exponential failure that needs to have a lot of the training leading up to this be looked at. Because a lot of people lost their lives due to her incompetence. 64 people gone for this. Yeah, it's infuriating if you think about it a little too much. You think she should have been evacuating? You think she should have been evacuating them? Jesus. You imagine if Trump had to be evacuated with this cunt? Yeah. Brigadier General Matthew Brahman, the Army's Director of Aviation, said it was clear that multiple factors contributed to the deadly crash. I think what we'll find in the end is there were multiple things that, had any one of them changed, it would have well changed the outcome of that evening. Aviation experts have long bemoaned the practice of allowing pilots to navigate on their own, as human error can often lead to tragedy, especially in the exceedingly busy conditions around Reagan Airport. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy has since openly criticized the long-standing practice and vowed to get rid of it, as he likened it to threading a needle. Or threading. I can't speak English today. There was also an apparent discrepancy between two of the three Army pilots aboard the doomed chopper about what altitude they were flying at, according to investigators, and they were well above the 200-foot limit for that location. At one point before the collision, the helicopter's pilot announced that they were at 300 feet, but the instructor pilot was also heard saying the helicopter was at 400 feet, according to the recordings. At the time of the fiery crash, the Blackhawk was flying at 278 feet, National Transportation Safety Board head Jennifer Homedy said, adding that doesn't mean that's what the Blackhawk crew was seeing on the barometer altimeters in the cockpit. The Blackhawk collided with Flight 5342, which was en route to Reagan National Airport from Wichita, Kansas. The fiery collision sent both the aircraft plunging into the Potomac River, making it the deadliest U.S. disaster since 2001. Did a little deep diving and saw that she was in ROTC advanced camp back in 2019. You can see her pics on Flickr. She must have just made captain before it happened. I feel like she probably shouldn't have been a captain. Would have been taken far more seriously if congressmen and senators would have been evacuating were actually the casualties. Unfortunately, probably. So here's the thing, everyone involved shares some blame, but the majority of the blame falls upon the commander of the aircraft. I mean, the commander of the aircraft can't, like, force the pilot to do anything, I suppose. The poor families. Yeah, it's a really unfortunate situation that could have been entirely avoided, unfortunately. There are dual controls. I don't know if there were dual controls. I feel like that's something that would have come up in, like, any of the articles we read. I've never been inside of a Blackhawk. You're in the military. If you are the pilot or the driver, you ignore safety, it's your fault. Yeah, I agree with you. It's not the fault of, like, the guy next to her.